You serious?
Hello, this is another episode of How to Kill an Hour with Marcus Bronzy and friends. In this case,
Sure.
Nah. Now, before we start today's show, where Sean and I just basically, I think the best way of describing the show is we skip around the internet, find some stuff to laugh at, find some stuff to do, and have a little catch up, mate to mate. But we've had some complaints in, Sean. It's quite serious. I'll wait for the intro music to finish to add gravitas.
Right, is it?
So I'm about to say.
Serious.
Some people have accused me of overstepping the mark when it comes to my fingering of
One of them ones. Okay.
So
Yeah, no, I agree with them.
I don't know what to say to that, Sean. Do we address it now or should we address it in a few minutes? Should we just get through the first bit of the show and maybe address it later on? If you don't know what we're talking about, there's been messages, people saying, look, I think it was unacceptable for you to say you were short for time last week and spend so much time with your finger in that position.
Oh, they're not wrong.
So before we get into our jokes,
They're not wrong.
Of the week.
shout out to Shadi, who said, "Hola, lads. Salutations from Florida. I've been a fan of your show for a minute. I'm a Latino living in the States, listening to an English pod. Brilliant. Mega job, guys. McLaren for the champs 2025. Fall down 7 times, get up 8. See you at work." I love it. That email just feels like a stream of consciousness. Yeah. Feels like Alan Partridge as well. See you at work. They also left us a quick joke. So this is a little taster of a joke, which we will put out. Here's a short joke for you. What's the difference between a thermometer and a rectal thermometer?
Don't know.
The taste.
Oh.
I like it. It's good. And
Oh dear.
on that note, it's time for us to step into our jokes.
Hey, just the once. Hey. It's okay, man. You can do
My
it.
finger is hovering over the
You
microphone.
can do it.
Just hover it just once.
You can do it. Yeah. Imagine it's like it's giving you a shock and you just have to get rid of that your finger straight away.
But it's just like a mouse to cheese that's electric though, isn't it? I just feel drawn back. It's time for our jokes.
Of the week.
You're not alright, man. You know what I've got to listen to every week? I've got to listen to that and then the bloody the DVD crime music takes up like 3/4 of the show.
Sorry, it's time for our jokes.
Of
Oh man.
the week.
Right, it's out my system.
Remixed it even more.
Okay. This is a bit of an overflow of a joke, but I had to it was written so eloquently that I had to kind of make it it was the language that was using it was phenomenal. All right. So I'm going to simplify it.
You saying that you dumbed it down for me?
There were more syllables in the words than I would have wanted there to
I don't
be.
even know what you just said there, so
Maybe I dumbed it down for you, or maybe I made it easier for me to read.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, if this is your first time here, Sean and I read out some jokes on the internet, make us laugh. This is from K17. I know this isn't a punishment one, but it just skipped over here. A group of City University students visited a remote village where electricity was very rare, so the nights were pitch black. One of the students hurt his finger one of the evenings and, with no one around, knocked on the door of a nearby house, and a widow answered. "Excuse me, ma'am, I hurt my finger. Do you have anything that could help it?" he asked, holding up a bruised and swollen digit. She replied, "Don't worry, dear. Around here, we treat bruises by sticking the finger into a buffalo's backside. There's one just behind the house, but be careful, the path's pretty tricky in the dark." So she led him out and pointed him in the right direction, and he carefully followed her instructions. He walked down the dark path and stuck his finger where she said he should, and like magic, the bruising went away and the finger was healed. The next night, the same student got the same injury on the same finger and rushed back to the widow's place. It was already dark, so she helped to guide him again. This time, though, when he came back, something was off. His finger wasn't healed at all. In fact, it looked a little bit worse. Embarrassed, he blurted out, "I'm so sorry. It wasn't my finger." The widow smiled calmly at him and said, "That's quite all right, young man, because when you went over there this time, I was there instead of the buffalo.
Right. Okay.
Slimy.
A couple of short ones to kick off. I dated a girl whose kink was freezing my penis. We eventually broke it off.
That's really good.
I haven't had that one. That's really good. Last night, someone broke into my home and took a dozen eggs, but they left a saucepan filled with warm water. Police believe it was poachers. Proper dad joke. Sorry,
That's horrible.
That's sorry.
I like it.
Right, no, go for it. You go.
Okay, cool. Yeah,
because the next one I've got is a super long one, so
Okay,
I'm going to leave
alright.
this one to you.
One Sunday morning, an old cowboy entered a church just before... Actually, you know what? This is a little bit different. Less of a joke, more of a moral story, this.
All right, okay.
One Sunday morning, an old cowboy entered a church just before the services began. Although the old man and his clothes were spotlessly clean, he wore jeans, a denim shirt and boots that were very worn down and ragged. In his hands, he carried an old hat and an equally worn-out Bible. The church he entered was very upscale, and it was in a fancy part of the city. It was the largest and most beautiful church that old cowboy had ever seen. The other people in the congregation were all wearing upscale, expensive clothing as well. As the cowboy took his seat, the others moved away from him. No one greeted or spoke to him or welcomed him. They were appalled at his appearance and didn't attempt to hide it. As the old cowboy was leaving the church, the service preacher went up to him and said, "Do us a favour, mate. Before you come back in next time, have a chat with God and ask him what he thinks would be appropriate attire for worship, yeah?" The old cowboy assured the preacher that he would, and the next Sunday, he turned up, but he was wearing exactly the same things as he was previously. The messed up boots, hat, Bible, etc. Once again, he was completely shunned and ignored. After the service, the preacher went over to the man and said, "I thought I asked you to speak to God about your attire and come back to church when you'd done so." The man said, "I did." "And what did God tell you the proper attire would be for worshipping here?" asked the preacher. "Well, sir," the cowboy replied, "God told me he didn't have a clue what I should wear because he'd never been in this church." There we go. Less of a joke, more of a moral story. Be nice. Be nice. Yeah. Be nice.
Fair play.
It's not just about going to the place of worship. It's about, I don't know why I feel like this turned into a sermon. It's not about doing it. But yeah, no, I don't know. I read it and I was like, you know what? Let's bring this to the table.
Okay.
Try something different. Can't wait for the comments from people who are going to suggest that, oh, it's only so long. Marcus has started spewing stuff. But yeah, I just think it's a nice story.
This, I'm going to put it out there.
No, to come with something absolutely crazy.
No. Just, this is a... Okay, this is a long. Stay with me. This is a long joke.
Okay,
but it's all about the punchline.
Okay, for God's sake. Time for a long walk. Let's see what kind of swim it's going to be. I'm in.
Greg builds a supercomputer out of a self-service checkout machine he finds in a junkyard. This thing is next level powerful to the point where it can use AI to predict the future to shocking accuracy. He asked the machine, "What stock should I invest in?" The checkout machine tells him McDonald's. Heeding the machine's advice, Greg invests in McDonald's. Sure enough, the company goes through a phase of profit and Greg gets a fair bit of money. He asks the checkout machine, "How can I make more money?" The checkout machine tells him to buy a specific painting from a local charity shop. Heeding the checkout machine's advice, Greg buys the painting, which turns out to be priceless. He gets a ton of money. Not wanting to stop, he asks the machine, "How can I make even more money?" The checkout machine tells him that there's a rich CEO's son, Tim, and he's staying in a nearby hotel. He can kidnap Tim and hold him for ransom. Heeding the checkout machine's advice, Greg assembles a crew to kidnap Tim and hold him at ransom. So the day comes. Greg's crew go to kidnap Tim, while Greg monitors their progress from his lair using the checkout machine. The crew break into Tim's hotel room whilst he's sleeping. Now, funny story, Tim lost one of his eyes when he was younger. Very long story, business still got wrong. To replace it, Tim now has a fancy-looking glass eye, which he takes out when he goes to sleep. Unfortunately for the crew, Tim has placed the glass eye on the bedside table, and as they're preparing to grab him, the eye rolls off and hits the floor. Smash. Tim immediately wakes up, sees the crew and starts fighting. He almost makes it to the door, but one crew member manages to knock his lights out. The crew stuff him into a sack and put him in the boot of the car. The hard part's over. Unfortunately, the crew gets stuck in traffic on the way back, so they're taking a really long time to get back to Greg. Back in his lair, Greg's panicking. It's been a really long time. He thinks something has gone wrong with the heist. As the crew finally nears the lair, Greg hurriedly asks the checkout machine, were there any complications? Did they get Tim? And where are they? And the checkout machine responds, unexpected eye, Tim in the bag, in area. I had to read it a few times, bro. I had to read it a few times. So, unexpected eye, Tim in the bag, in area. Unexpected item in the bag in area.
That is...
Someone reverse engineered that.
That is a surgical piece of... you know what? That is a surgical piece of comedy. That is...
I respect it. You know what? I read it and I thought, that's actually brilliant. I respected the hustle of reverse engineering that joke.
I don't think I've ever heard anything as profound. Now I feel like whatever joke I'm going to come with is going to be absolute trash.
Sorry, I butchered it, but it was a tough one to sell.
Well, you know what, actually, Sean, this is a nice safe one. No, that was hilarious.
You enjoyed that? Okay.
But it was like I was so focused. But this is a twist on a classic, Sean. You've heard it before, but it's so nice. Sometimes we got to say it twice. Silly Sally and a lawyer are seated next to each other on a flight from LA to New York. The lawyer leans over and goes, "Psst, do you want to play a little game?" Silly Sally is tired and really wants a nap and politely declines and turns over towards the window. The lawyer persists and says, "Come on, man, it's easy and fun. I'll ask you a question, right? And if you don't know the answer, you give me $5. And if you ask me a question and I don't know the answer, I'll give you $5. Again, Silly Sally says no and closes her eyes. The lawyer's getting a little bit annoyed and ups the offer. Okay, how about this? I'll give you $5 if you don't know the answer. But if I don't know the answer, I'll give you $500. This gets Sally's attention. Figuring it's the only way to get some peace, she agrees to play. The lawyer goes first. What's the distance from the Earth to the moon? Silly Sally doesn't say a word. She just reaches over to her bag, pulls out $5 and hands it over. Your turn, says the lawyer. Silly Sally goes, what goes up a hill with 3 legs and comes down with 4? The lawyer looks stumped. He pulls out his laptop, connects to the Wi-Fi, tries to check every single source, has no luck. Nothing. After an hour of trying, he finally gives up. He wakes up Silly Sally, who'd fallen asleep by then, and hands her $500. Thanks, she says, pocketing the money. Frustrated, though, the lawyer taps her before she falls asleep again and goes, "But 1 second, what's the answer?" Silly Sally looks at him, silently reaches into her bag, hands him $5 and turns over and goes to sleep. Come on. Come on.
You know, there was
Silly
a double entendre in there somewhere. You said, when you said, oh, it's the only way that she realised she'll get some peace. And I was like, peas.
Peas. Oh, there's a joke in there, isn't it?
There is.
Let me.
A man plans to cheat on his wife. So he takes this woman out for dinner, shows her a good night, a steak meal, sharing a dessert, lots of expensive wine. And then after that, he takes her to his car and they park in a secluded spot and he's just about to go and make love to her on the back seats when suddenly he bottles it. He realises he loves his wife too much and he couldn't possibly ever bring himself to properly cheat on her. But not wanting to leave the woman he took out for dinner disappointed, he phones his best friend and asks if he'll come out and help him. So his best friend comes over from his house, climbs into the back of the car and says to the woman, "Hi there. Unfortunately, my friend had to leave, but I'm here now, and if you wish, I can still make love to you just as good as he would have." At this moment, a police officer is walking past and gets suspicious of the scene. So he walks over and shines his torch in the car and says to the pair, "Excuse me, are you two all right in there? Is this man bothering you, miss?" And the man, thinking on his feet, says, No, officer, you've got the wrong idea. This woman is actually my wife." The officer says, Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't realise she was your wife." The man replies, "In all fairness, until you switched on the torch, neither did I."
That's a classic. I love it. Oh, man. Okay. Okay, cool. All right. Sean, I'm sorry, I had to go for another classic that I loved. Wiz Walker sent this in as well, but I've told this before. A man playing on a new golf course got confused as to what hole he was on. He saw a lady playing ahead of him. He walked up to her and said, "Do you know what hole you're playing so I can work out where I am?" She goes, "I'm on the 7th hole and you're a hole behind me. So you're on the 6th. He went, "Cheers," and went back to golf. On hole 9, the same thing happened and he forgot. And he went up to her and said, "I'm really sorry. I've forgotten. What hole am I on?" She goes, "I'm on the 14th and you're a hole behind me. So you're on the 13th. Once again, he thanked her. He finished his round off and went to the clubhouse and saw that same lady sitting at the end of the bar. He went up to her and said, "Can I buy you a drink to show appreciation for your help?" She said, "Sure." And they started off a little conversation, and he asked her what kind of work she was into. She said she was into sales. And he said, "What kind of sales?" And she was like, "I just sell stuff." He was like, "Go on." She's like, "If I tell you, you're just going to laugh." He goes, "No, I won't." She goes, "I sell tampons." And with that, he fell onto the floor laughing really hard. She said, "See, I knew you would laugh. You're so childish." He goes, No. I'm not laughing at what you sell. It's just that I'm a toilet paper salesman, so I'm still one hole behind you."
I like that. Right. This is one of the only jokes that I know of, that it gets funnier when you explain it.
Okay. Mate, you're coming in with the big ones today. I'm just coming in with classic remixes.
But it's a tough one. I'm going to say it. Maybe I'll do it all in one and then you can
do it. Go for it.
So, 3 logicians. Is that even right? A logician? Logician?
Why not?
Okay, 3 logicians walk into a bar. The barkeeper asks, "Do you all want a beer?" The first one answers, "I don't know." The second one answers, "I don't know." And the third one answers, "Yes." Right. So, the first logician says, "I don't know," meaning I want a beer, but I don't know if the other 2 do. The second one hears that and also says, "I don't know," meaning I want a beer too, but I still don't know about the third. The third one, hearing both of them say, "I don't know," means they both want a beer and he wants one too. So he goes, "Yeah." I just thought, actually, it's the first time someone's explained the joke afterwards, and I thought, actually, that's made it more funny than it initially was.
I like that, man. Very logical.
Logical. Is a logician a thing? I don't know. It sounds just like, I don't know. I'm going to have to look that up.
It sounds like
the fact.
It sounds like you just do maths and
magic maths
and logic based. Yeah, it sounds like you do. Yeah, logic based. Like you do. Yeah, logician sounds right, but it sounds very magical, doesn't it? It sounds like magician or logician. Yeah, yeah. Like find out where they hid the 69. No, I think that's a really good. You've come with some smart stuff today, you know.
Oh, you came with a moral instead of a joke.
Yeah, no. What has happened to us today,
know,
bro?
man. I don't know. Got left field.
Let me. Right, this is another twist on a classic, but I love it. A 60-year-old billionaire marries an absolute stunner. After their honeymoon, they throw a party to celebrate the marriage. After a few drinks, some friends of the billionaire get curious and ask how they managed to bag such a stunner. "It's simple," said the billionaire with a grin. "I lied about my age." One friend chuckles. "Okay, sure, but like even if you said you were like 40 or 45, your partner is still way out of your league." "How old did you say you were?" With a sly smile, the billionaire leaned in and said, 87.
He knows what he's doing. All right. This is a bit of a twist. This is a twist on a classic.
Right.
2 men were out fishing when one decides to have a smoke. He asks the other guy if he has a lighter. He replies, "Yeah, in fact I do." And he hands the other guy a 10-inch long Bic lighter. Surprised, the guy asks, "Where did you get this from?" The guy replies, "Oh, I have a personal genie." The first man asks, "What? Can I make a wish?" "Sure," says the other man. "Just make sure that you speak clearly because he's a little hard of hearing." Okay, sure, I will," says the other man as he rubs the lamp. The genie appears and asks the man what he wants. The man says, "I want $1 million." The genie says, "Okay," and goes back to his bottle. And 10 seconds later, 1 million ducks fly overhead. And the guy says to the other, "Your genie really sucks at hearing, doesn't he?" The other man replies, "I know. Do you think I really asked for a 10-inch Bic?"
I love that one. That's wicked.
So remix on the pianist. The pianist.
Yeah. Right. I really like this one, Sean. This made me chuckle. Okay. And I think this gets better as you go as well. I was with this girl last night and things were getting a bit hot and steamy. And she moaned, "Talk dirty to me." So I whispered, "I haven't changed my bed sheets in 3 months." And she gasped, "More." And then I growled, "There's still pizza crust under there from last week." And she shuddered, "Oh, don't stop." I leaned in close and whispered, "I use the same towel after every shower and I don't remember the last time I washed it." She came to her senses and left.
Oh, it grossed me out so much.
I
change your sheets and your towels. People.
Yeah.
It's like the Peralta thing where he goes, she's like, I bet you, when Amy goes to him, I bet you don't think that you need to change your towel because people only dry clean hands on it. He's like, yeah.
Obviously. Oh, there you go, Sean.
Right. Okay. This is a short one, but it's an old one, but it always tickles me. All right. Okay, no, this one. Wait, hold on. Oh, here it is. Okay. Lady, if I were your wife, sir, I'd serve you poison. The gentleman replies, Madam, if I were your husband, I'd drink it.
Damn! Damn!
We wrap another one into
Yeah,
that.
go
Right?
on.
I asked the librarian if the library had any books on paranoia. She whispered, they're behind you. Well, you know what, yeah? As soon as I did that, do you know what it reminded me of?
Yeah.
Bloody Punch and Judy. And then it got me thinking, how the hell are we watching Punch and Judy as kids?
Sheer violence.
Just watching
Pure domestic
Donnie
violence.
just with like a bat.
A baton. And
baton.
was there a police officer?
There was a police officer.
who just come in and batter everyone. Bruv.
Everyone's fair game. The police are fair game. It was the worst thing to show.
Think about describing it to
happening
people. Yeah, yeah. One character is called Punch.
Stop there, enough.
That's it. So what does this protagonist do in this live show? Yeah, they just beat up everyone. Okay, cool. And
Especially his missus.
And what does his missus do? She gets beat up and she kind of beats him up too as well.
And the audience is like
with a friend.
warning her.
Yeah, yeah. Like they warn her, and inevitably she always gets hit. And then a police officer comes up and just smashes everyone up as well.
Fair game. Everyone's fair game.
And how's it end? A knockout or submission or something like that? Yeah.
Real heartwarming. Like,
It's
you know,
like-
good morals for the kids, you know?
Yeah, man. I think it's like how you get your kids into UFC without showing them real UFC first.
A Japanese man, an Englishman, and an Australian man are captured by a group of cannibals. The cannibals' leader says, we will make jackets from your skin, but we shall let you choose how you'll die. So the Japanese man asks for a katana, stabs himself in the heart. The Englishman asks for a pistol and puts it to his head. He says, God save the king, before pulling the trigger. The Australian man asks for a fork. Confused, the cannibals give it to him. The Australian man starts stabbing at himself in all directions for almost 5 minutes. Before bleeding out, he says, fuck your stupid jackets. And do you know what that reminded me of, right?
Yes.
Do you remember the film Dog Soldiers?
Yes. Yeah.
Do you remember that? Oh, sick film.
I've seen that for
Guys,
time.
I'm just putting it out there. It's probably from the early 2000s, maybe something like that.
Yeah. I'll find out.
Dog Soldiers. It's about werewolves. Wicked film. But there's a bit in it. There's a bit where the werewolf is about to eat him, and he's like face to face with this werewolf, and he just looks at him and he goes, "I hope I give you the shit."
Yeah. It's class. That's how you go out, innit?
Oi.
That is one of those things when
Oi.
you wake up in heaven, innit? Or wherever you end up
people are
going,
like
innit?
gassed,
And
innit?
people are like, what were your last words? Like, because
No.
I think
if you
Yeah.
arrive in heaven after you do that,
Yeah.
there's like there's a ceremony for you.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because people are like,
yeah.
ledge.
Yeah, like, actually, legit.
Yeah.
Whereas I feel like my words are probably gonna be like, "Whoops! Oh no! So I'm like,
Don't eat me.
Oh dear! I was gonna like fall off something like." Do you know what I mean? Like, oh, I wish I put the ladder up properly. But yeah, man, that I love stuff like that. I love that. You know, like what the real PG version of that was. And by the way, that was 2002. That was only 23 years ago.
What Dog Soldiers?
Yeah.
Oh, that was quite
23
close.
years.
Oh, wicked film, man.
But it was like Jurassic Park, innit, when the Velociraptor follows the tracker and he looks to his right and goes, "Clever girl." Do you remember that? Yeah. Because they flank him, innit? Because he thinks he can flank them and they outflank him and he goes, "Clever girl." And it's like she almost like the female almost like looks at him as if to say, "Yeah, I am."
I got you that. Okay.
Right, Sean. Again, we're pushed for time. I have a quiz for you, but the quiz can wait until next week. Again, I just feel like when people throw a quiz at you, I always feel like they come because they know the answers. They come at you a bit like, can't believe you didn't know that. It's a good quiz. It's a quiz that we'll all I've learned from, and we will all learn from, especially UK.
You're bringing
people.
morals, you're bringing learning material.
No, we're just gonna we're hemorrhaging listeners as soon as we talk. We'll just be talking to ourselves.
This is Evening Therapy with Sean and Marcus.
So Sean, time for our killer bit part of the episode where Sean and I talk about how we kill a little bit of time. How have you been killing time,
Well,
Sean?
my killer bit this week was based upon how excited you were last week about Atomfall. I didn't get it right, didn't I?
Yeah. A game from Rebellion. That this is the third. We're Jack Reacher in it, aren't we? And
We're
slow horsing
a little bit.
We're all,
A little bit.
The thing is, because Sean and I aren't being paid to talk about what we're talking about right now, this is editorial. We can talk about as much as we want, or as little as we want as well. You get me?
But I just haven't seen you get as excited about a game for quite a while. And I've realised as well that the games that you tend to like, I tend to like.
Okay.
Because we have similar play styles.
Yeah.
I think there are some, there's going to be
Mostly,
differences, but
mostly.
yeah, I like my survival games. So I gave it a go.
Talk to me, bro.
And a lot of what you said, well, I was like, yeah, you got this spot on. I did the same thing as you in the sense of like I didn't just go straight for the main story. I was like, but I'm about to go forward, but there's like this bit round, like, so I ended up going round and there was a helicopter crash, and then I was trying to like sidestep this woman, but she just kept coming for me, so like she had to receive the shotgun, and then like
It's a really polite way of putting it.
yeah, and
I had to serve her
I had to
some lead.
serve her the pellets.
Serve her lead
and then
dessert.
and then I was just like, you go in, spoke to this guy, and then told me about the mines and all this, and I just like ventured on for a bit, and it was interesting. I probably didn't try as many things as you did initially. I was attempting to be like stealthy, and I walked out and there were like 20 dudes, and I was like, yeah, I don't want this smoke. So like I crept around. And then,
Did you ever go at trying to confront anyone? It was like not many people.
Nah, not really. I was just trying to stealth it up, and hold on to my ammo and such. And I thought, if anyone, like I would just like go and hide in the grass in it if there were like a load of people coming after me or whatever. But I enjoyed, different to you. So I'm gonna put it out there. I lowered. You can choose a level when you first start. You've got like 4. I think is it 4? Then you've got 4 levels, but then you can customize completely. So what I did is I thought to myself, now I still want it to be difficult in some parts, but I'm also not that far. I actually kind of like want to go through the story and enjoy the story. So I kind of turned down a little bit the kind of survival part of it, but then I wanted to keep like some of the other things like more challenging. And so I feel like I got like a bit of a sweet spot. Different to you, so you're playing it on a hard level.
So I'm playing it on that recommended level.
Yeah. So that's 3 out of 4.
Yeah.
So I did like some things 3, some things 2.
Yeah, I might have to do that because I've got further into the game. I've died a lot, bro.
Oh, is it tough?
It's just, but do you know what's interesting, right, is I don't know if this is just sheer luck.
Okay.
But or whether they've programmed this in, but if I have like a heavy fight where I get damaged a lot, 2 things, right? Because a couple of times I've died, so I've had to retry, and I've like tried a few silly things where I've like done a bit of the game and thought, let me save it and then just try and shoot everyone up and stuff, and die. But I've realised that when you have an encounter where you use a lot of bullets, you tend to find them spawning. But I don't know if that's intentional or luck.
Interesting.
And also when I've come against, I'm always 1 sheet of toilet paper less than I need to wipe my ass. That's how I feel. So I can get by if I know, because I'm aware of that, I'm going to be careful with the last sheets that I have and be extra efficient with them. That's the best way of me putting it. That's how I feel analogy. Like. So it's like this kind of like nervousness where you feel like I have it. But what if
you don't have plentiful supply of anything?
But what if something goes horribly wrong? Just like what if there's an unexpected?
You got that, and you look at the sheet and you go like, this ain't gonna do, innit?
Yeah, oh man, this is we got to burn this down and start again. Yeah. So yeah, like I feel like it's good. It's getting very hard though, so I'm gonna have to. I think I'm not a gamer like that. I'm gonna have to knock it down a peg.
Like I don't like to have to repeat. If the purpose of the game is not. There are some games where the whole point is like there's something like really difficult thing and you've got to keep trying it, and then. But I feel like
it's and because I've replayed certain bits, the way that they've randomized it is like, bro, like I've died, come back, try to like address
finesse it in the same way, kind of thing.
Address it in a different way to adjust, and then they flipped it again. Yeah, like so I don't know what's going on. But like, I even restarted a save point where have you only encountered people at this moment in time? Nothing else.
No.
I've encountered a person who you really don't want to get the attention of, and you can try and creep around. At my level, sometimes if you just move too fast, they wake up. Also, I've realised at my level, I can respawn and they wake up in your face, and you're under it straight away.
Right?
So like,
yeah. So it depends on when the autosave happens.
Yeah. But I've saved. Yeah, I've auto saved, or I've saved after a sticky situation, about to go into another sticky situation. And every time it's respawn me, there's a slight difference in the.
Okay.
Yeah, like it's hard, man. Like it's hard, but I might have to drop it a bit because it's taken me a lot longer to play.
I find that if it is affecting the amount of fun that you're having, then like I don't think you should feel a way about dropping it down, kind of thing.
And I think maybe because I gassed it up so much is why I'm trying so hard to like do it, because maybe I wouldn't, because there's certain other games I played. Let's just skip to another thing totally. PS5 Astrobot, right? The last game that came out. Or was it Sackboy? Whatever. It had amazing levels, and I was going to 100% it, but the last level to 100% was like, you ever seen those weird custom modded Super Mario levels where they're just ridiculous? Where like, it was just like somebody was like, it's the sort of level where you watch a pro do it on YouTube and you're like, wow, I don't know, they must have spent 100 hours doing that. And I looked at it and went, nope, locked off the game, 99%. I don't need 100% on that. And I totally agree with you. Like, I love a game, but if it gets super challenging to the point where I'm not enjoying myself, I literally do that thing that I've done since I've been a little bit older and gone, I'm an adult now. There's no pressure for me to finish this. I can go and do something else. In fact, I probably have work to do at some point. You get me?
But this is
so
the thing,
I'm not going to not do work to not have fun.
Yeah. But this is the thing. True gamers, that's what they design. Like,
for real.
Like,
they'll be listening to us lightweights.
Yeah.
Custom. What, you didn't put it on hardest? Yeah.
But I realised that they, even though we're playing the same game, they are playing it for completely different reasons. They're like, nah, I need to 100% it. No, I need to speed run it. No, I need to like. I'm like, bruv, did you see that thing? No, I don't care about that thing, bruv. I'm man moving forward. You know, it's the kind of people that they're so good at games that I end up just running after them because they're just so far ahead and they're just doing everything that you just like, just following you, to be honest.
Yeah.
You're just smashing. I'm just following you, and I don't enjoy that much, to be honest. I like to like take my time, see what's going on, and
or you chill for a second, and they're ready in the next part of a level, and you're like,
you know, it is like my inventory's full, so I stop for 1 minute to get, bruv. I ain't finding them again. They're gone. Do you know what I mean? And I'm like, bruh, I want to build, but like, I can't pick up this gold item because I've got like 400 green ones that are dog shit or whatever. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like that.
I want to take this big emerald. Right. So, what have you any highlights of the game? Stuff that you've liked? Anything that stands out? Don't worry about spoilers as much now because embargo's dropped it. It's been out for a little bit.
I enjoyed the way that you can the way that when you speak to people you get like new clues and that, you know, and also one thing I did find, which you can correct me if I'm wrong on this, but there was one where I found I spoke to this guy and he said to me, excuse me, it was inside the helicopter, and then I found on a person, and it had like a note, and then it kind of gave me a clue to go and find this like shipyard, and then there was like a lockbox in there, and so like it. But when I went and I found the lockbox in that, it doesn't go tick, you've done it. So I'm like, oh, did I miss something? Can I ask? It doesn't. If you complete certain things, does it?
I'll be honest, brother. I don't think I went that direction, but I do know this. I've gone the other way. I've had 2 leads, completed 1 lead, and it's said that you've crossed off another lead as well. So there's different ways to get to the same point.
But does it?
Which is amazing.
But does it actually? So when I went back to, so for instance, so I found the lockbox that we're talking about. There was a rusty pistol and there were some other bits in there, and I thought, sweet, because they were said, oh, if I don't get time, I'm going to leave some supplies there. So I went and I found them and whatnot. But then once I'd done that, when I went back to my kind of inventory and looked at the other missions or other leads, right? It wasn't like tick.
I think there might still be work to do, or it might just be a information based.
And so it won't come up and be like completed or anything like that.
I don't think so. But you can. There is a filter though using. I'm thinking, is it triangle or R2? There's a button you can press in a menu where you can filter through, so it can be like stuff that's in the area on the map that you're in, or stuff that you've completed or whatever, and you can highlight stuff and select it so that it stays at the top.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, no,
I like the pace of it for sure. I like I like the pace. I like the I like what you said about the fact that you're so used to playing American games that just hearing like all right or whatever.
Friend or four. Yeah, friend or four. Yeah.
And it was a bit initially. I was like, oh, yeah. Even though I knew it, when I heard it, I was like, oh, this is just so you're kind of so used to American games. So I really enjoyed that.
Any builds on it? Anything you think they need to do a little bit better?
The only thing that happened to me, I was playing it on cloud. I wanted to give it a go and see how it ran. Actually, it ran great up until the point where. And to be honest, it was probably my computer being like, "Oh, you need to go to sleep," one of them ones, isn't it? I just lost sound. I lost sound completely from the game, and and then I found out. I mean, you know this about horror films. You can watch a horror film, no sound loses all of its scariness. Or same with the game. I didn't realize that the sound had gone. I had earphones in, and I thought, oh, it's very quiet, and then I saw some like text coming up on the bottom of the screen. I was like, oh, and it just lost that, it just lost the suspense and all of that stuff. And I was like, I restarted it. It didn't happen. So I'll jump back on it again.
So after the restart, it didn't work?
It didn't. The sound didn't come back on, which is a bit weird. So I'm going to just have to see. Unless one of my saves bugged or something. I actually reloaded an earlier save to see if that was the case. It didn't work, but no.
Fair enough.
We'll see. But I will say if you're into survival games, or I think as well, even if you're not into survival games, if you put it on the easiest level, I think it's the kind of game where you can kind of like just walk through, not too much resistance, but you kind of like you enjoy it like you would a film or a series where you just kind of enjoying it for the narrative and you're like, oh, I've got to go and do this and I've got to go and do that, but not like, oh, I need to like upskill or I need to like protect myself and stuff like that, which for some people they're like, oh, I'm not really about this bit.
Exactly.
And it's so nice that you can really customize each bit depending on what you want from the game.
Yeah, I think that's amazing. So like you can customize, for example, how likely you are to come across goodies or stuff. Inventory.
So,
to get to that
like
granular
plentiful
level.
or it's like sparse or whatever. Yeah.
So I love that, man. I might throw it up to plentiful for a bit if I need some more bullets. But
the same with the combat, right? You can make it so like the combat is really tough.
Yeah.
And then the rest of the game is quite easy.
Yeah.
If you're like, oh, I'm all about getting in some scuffs and whatnot, and vice versa.
Yeah, and I don't feel like they penalise you for doing it as well.
If you want to go and pick some herbs and just like skip around a bit,
no.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. So I've got to a point where it's getting tough. So I might have to, and I think I've got to a part where I don't know what to do. I think I just have to go in for a little roam and walk around and see if I work it out. I think I'm just going to do it. Like there's a bit that I need. This is all I can say. There's something that I need.
Okay.
And I've not come across it. So I'm like, there's a few places that I haven't explored. Let me go and check them out. There's like a little. There's like an area of a settlement of people that I think I might be able to walk amongst. I think, but I've not tried it yet because because everyone else I've been near is, if I hang around too much, try to punch me in the head or they want to trade with me. Do you know what I mean? But there we go, Atomfall, man. So yeah, I guess look, we've spoken about it a lot, man. I've enjoyed it. Try it out. It's on Xbox, PlayStation, PC. You can play it on the cloud as well. I do like that fact that you can save across the cloud and play a bit on your PC, play a bit on your iPad or your phone. Or
yeah, that's a nice touch.
That's dope, man. But anyway, look, Sean, we've got to fly now, baby. We've got to fly, bruv. It's been another pleasure. How to Kill an Hour. Jokes at howtokillanhour.com is where you send your jokes to. If you want to get involved in our episode that is called
Punishment,
we have got some punishment for you. My giddy gosh. That's jokes at howtokillanhour.com. Also, you can follow us on socials at How to Kill an Hour everywhere, man. Stay blessed. Stay lovely. And also, if you're on YouTube, look at Sean's amazing that colour of jumper, bruv. What are we calling it? Coral? Pink?
You remember I'm colourblind, yeah, G? Man, if I'm in the right ballpark, it's fortunate, you know.